Hey my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and I'm back to talking about the AMD 7600 XT. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Well, technically I'm back to running some more of those benchmarks, getting a better idea of how this GPU is going to run and how it's going to work. I'm actually looking into some some of the AI type of stuff, like using the AI with this card, trying to put the 16 gigs of VRAM to use and see what we can do with that. My editing software now incorporates machine learning and everything, so I want to definitely check that out with it and see how that works. But so over the next couple of days, over the weekend, I want to try to get you guys some Suicide Squad content, at least a full benchmark, 1080p, 1440p, 4K on this card for Suicide Squad. I'll get you some Grand Blue. Is that what it's called again? Yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I'll get you some content for that. I got some Way of the Hunter upload. Actually, I've got the Suicide Squad and the Way of the Hunter uploading now. You'll probably be seeing those videos before this one's live. There's just a bunch of games. Like I've got I've got over 200 games on Steam. I've got a bunch on Ubisoft Play. I have a whole bunch on, well, not a whole bunch, but I've got, a good amount over on Epic and GOG. I got some Control Remedy we're going to be doing. We are going to be including some of the ray tracing stuff in this card. Everything I can think of to like put in there and like really try to cover this card over the next couple of days. So videos are probably going to be coming pretty fast. Once I actually get into recording a whole bunch of footage, I'll be able to upload those videos at the same time. I'll have multiple of those videos uploading at the same time. So you might be getting them one after another, pretty staggered releases. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I can already tell you, just from the results I was getting from Suicide Squad today, oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. So I was able to get this thing running at 4K resolution in with FSR in the balanced mode at 60 frames a second and riding pretty close to a little over, a little under. We're talking like dropping down into like 55 frames a second, all the way up over to like 80 frames a second at 4K resolution. I was like, are you kidding me, man? This GPU can rock this game at 4K resolution. When I'm looking at Suicide Squad on the Xbox, it looks like it's 4K upscaling to like it looks like it's 1440p upscaling to 4K, or a lower resolution, internal resolution, upscaling that to 1440p, and then reconstructing it to 1440p, then upscaling it to 4K, which I'm pretty sure that's the case. That's what it looks like, because when I have this on native 1440p or native 1080p or native 4K, the image quality difference between the Xbox Series X and the 7600 XT is like, wow, that's incredible. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like, gosh dang, man, the PC space, like right now with their low entry level cards, and I would recommend if you're moving over from if you're moving over from consoles and you're going PC, I do recommend, out of the gate, like if you want like the best bang for your buck GPU that's going to match and exceed the console easily, I would say the 7800 XT is probably going to be like the perfect fit for you to actually see like tangible, like real tangible, consistent frame rates and like image quality across multiple different types of genres of games. Whereas the 7600 XT is gonna do that as well, but you are gonna find yourself not necessarily compromised a lot, but I mean, because whatever image quality you're going to be able to get with 7600 XT is definitely going to be is definitely going to be on par or higher than your consoles almost every single time. At least in every game I've tested so far. I've tested about 25 games so far, and the consistency of the 7600 XT is absolutely incredible. And then if you use stuff like fluid motion frames, or you turn on like HyperRX and you utilize these tools that are there for the AMD platform. Oh my gosh, man. Like, it really is good. And if you don't believe me, like, even Digital Foundry has pretty much came out with a new video in the last couple of days, pretty much saying the exact same thing I have about this frame gen technology. If you're on a controller, you can't tell. Like, you can't tell that like there's any frame any lag or anything like that. It just feels fine. Like, you can't tell. Image quality wise, your image quality is significantly better because your screen is more stable. It's like your frames are coming at you fast enough to where it is pretty stable. I don't think that they're ever going to go really into it and like really test this feature and give you like and give you like real feedback for it. So at the end of the day, you're just going to have to rely on your own two eyes, and I'll do the best I can to help you understand like how fluid motion frames looks and feels and all of that stuff, because I will be testing it in every single game that I test on these now. I don't see any reason not to. I mean, I haven't found one good reason not to test these features, because first of all, like, I'm impressed with them. At first, like, seriously, like, when I heard fake frames, I literally was like, are you kidding me? When Nvidia brought this stuff out, I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Now they're gonna try to sell us fake frames. They're not even gonna try to sell us power anymore. And at first I was like, dude, this is not gonna be good. This is gonna suck. You know, when like early representations of it were showing like a whole bunch of like artifacting and ghosting and all kinds of stuff like that. Well, it wasn't until I actually tried it for myself, because that's just the kind of person I am. I have to try things for myself. I can't. It's so hard for me now. Like, my trust has been broken so many times with reviewers and stuff like that it does suck. And I know, like, seriously, man, like, me saying that my trust has been broken, but then I'm saying like, hey, dude, you should trust me type. Man, I'm just here to try to help you find another option. That's it. Like, I'm not really trying to tell you that, yeah, man, you should buy AMD over Nvidia or over an Xbox or anything like that. All I'm saying is, like, if you're on a console right now, my friends, you already see the image quality that you get. Like you already see that. Your PS5 and your Xbox, they both have AMD platforms in them. So you already see that. Go into the AMD platform, and this has been my 100% experience with this, is my image quality looks the same, but better in those areas that the Xbox or the PlayStation just can't push it, which is resolution, frame rate, other features like ray tracing and like the whole nine yards, and being able to give you access to FSR, to FSR3, to give you access to frame generation, to give you every single thing that you've been asking over on Twitter for Xbox to implement. Like, I saw that Starfield is going to be getting FSR3 here in the next week, and by the end of the month in a full, by the end of this week in a beta patch, but then by the end of the month in like full, like, here you go, it's like fully enabled on your AMD cards. And I noticed in the comment section, a lot of people were like, come on, man, bring FSR3, we want 60 frames. And I get what you guys are saying, man, and I completely understand the mindset of being like, yeah, dude, we just want our consoles to be better. I get that. Like, I 100% get that, and that's why I feel like it's important for me as a long-term console gamer that is moving over to PC, to try to help anybody that wants to come with me, to try to help anybody, try to help you find the best bang for your buck that's still going to deliver on the convenience factor, that's still going to deliver on the overall gaming experience. If you want your TV, or if you want your system on a 4K TV, how you want to do that, For me personally, it is kind of hard to recommend like a 7600 XT with its 128-bit bus for 4K, like it really is. But for 1440p, absolutely, it's doing just fine. When it comes to, that's why I recommend 7800 XTs, because that's going to put you at 256-bit bus where you can utilize 4K, you can push higher frame rates, you'll be able to use FSR3. And I know that we get beat over the head over and over and over again that DLSS is better. I get that. In some games, yes, DLSS looks better. In some games, FSR looks significantly better, in my opinion. If it comes to a racing game, an open world game, those games to me look significantly better with FSR. I like that softer look that it delivers. And when you turn on FSR, like I don't feel like I'm losing image quality at all. Or when I'm using fluid motion frames. When I would turn on DLSS and its frame generation, you can see that you're obviously losing image quality, like in terms of like texture detail and all of that stuff, and it's being replaced with a more crisp, refined, I say perfect because it looks uncanny in my mind. It doesn't look like it doesn't look right to me, like the over like the way that DLSS works. Like it kind of like smooths over all the textures, and then it smooths out the overall lines and the image quality and stuff. And so when I look at it, to me it just looks like, I just say perfect because it's easier to explain that, but or to just kind of like get people to like see like oh yeah, that's like a pristine image. But in my mind, like what I'm seeing, what I'm perceiving, and what I notice is that yeah, like the texture detail and all of that stuff just kind of looks off to me. Whereas on AMD, like I don't suffer those image quality issues like I was getting on the Nvidia GPUs. And told me, and trust me guys, this is 100% preference. This doesn't mean that the AMD's better than Nvidia, or the Nvidia is like better or better than AMD. This is a preference thing, 100%. Some people are going to absolutely prefer DLSS, and some people like me are going to 100% prefer that FSR look. I just do. What, right from the moment I plugged in that 7900 XT, within 10 minutes I was like, yeah, dude, I could definitely see myself leaving consoles for this. With the Nvidia GPUs, I never felt that way. I would have much rather been on my Xbox because the image quality looked better. I like that softer look for some reason. This isn't the same on 4K. On 4K, it looks sharp, it looks crisp, all of that. This 100% has to do with a 1440p monitor. When I'm on the 4K TV, trust me, there's really not that big of a difference. It all mainly comes down to what I'm seeing on my 1440p monitor that is giving me that ultimate look that I really like. The image looks deeper, denser, more full of like color, and it just it looks incredible to me. Like I love that look that I just wasn't able to really get out of the Nvidia GPU. Like I tried multiple times, and I finally, toward the end, before I went and sold the 4070, I kind of got it there, but it's just too little too late. With me, like I don't care to waste any more brain cells trying to figure out Nvidia or trying to make it look good. And I don't have the time with that. I would much rather just cover what I'm comfortable with, what I feel good with. I feel good about the AMD platform. So why not cover that? Why not, build, a foundation around that, like liking it, learning how to use this stuff better, like getting in there and like really exploring what AMD has to offer, because I just don't think there's a lot of coverage like that. I mean, you got your like super nerdy tech reviews of people that do that kind of stuff, but you don't have that like inside gamer kind of person that just cares about gaming covering this stuff and how it works and how it feels, and like being able to utilize these different tools and technologies that AMD has. I love the open sourceness about AMD. That is like one of the biggest things that draws me to Android, that draws me to AMD, is like, dang, I love open source tech, because then it's open source, so it continues to grow and get better. Whereas with Nvidia, it's proprietary. It's just locked off. It's gated off. And they even gate it from their older generation of cards. Whereas AMD seems more willing to support their older tech and to bring it forward. And that to me is massive. I love that about AMD. That's like literally one of the things that like is like, wow, dude, I believe in AMD because right now, this chiplet technology, I kind of just feel like AMD could potentially make it better, with like driver updates and stuff, because this stuff is already pushing about, where the last stack was and a little bit better, and they've lowered the price range for a lot of this stuff. So it's like, okay, cool. But obviously changing up the number scheme and stuff like Nvidia did. Obviously they both did that. So I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but at the end of the day, I think if this is the new benchmark for the chiplet design that AMD's going with, that they're like, okay, this is what our 70 or our 800 class is going to be. This is what our 900 class, our 600, 700 class. If those are the new, you know, the new bases for where these cards are going to move from there, then that's cool. Like, I get that. It's a completely different architecture. That's why I don't really freak out on them too much. But I mean, if we get like the 8000 series and like the 89 or the 8800 XT is just a little bit better than the 7800 XT, then we can go after them and freak out on them and stuff. But other than that, like, yeah, dude, I'm happy to be back testing on 7600 XT. I think this card has an interesting prospect for not only the longevity of this card, but actually what it can do right now in the here and now, in my mind, is pretty impressive. Now I know a lot of people are like, yeah, just get the 6700 XT. And if it's still available, honestly, 6700 XT, it's got more cores, it's got more it's got, yeah, well, I mean, it's got less memory, but it's got more bandwidth. It's just a stronger card overall than what the 7600 XT is. So you potentially would be better off getting that. I mean, it's literally the same price in my mind. Like I said before, to me, it's old tech, so I don't know. But yeah, that is going to offer you a pretty decent bang for your buck, especially if it's giving you above and beyond what I'm getting with the 78 or the 7600 XT. Yeah, dude, definitely. If that's what you can get, I'm not going to tell you to go buy a 7600 XT over that. But I'm telling you, like, if you're not interested in going backwards and you have specific needs and you want the comfort and the peace of mind the 16 gigs of VRAM is going to bring to you in the PC space, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the things, when you look at the charts and stuff, and it shows you like a percentage, and it's like, oh yeah, this card's like 12% faster or something. You got to keep in mind that, like, if you have 100 frames and the card is 12% faster or whatever, or the 7600 performs 12% less, that's 12 frames. You know what I mean? That's like 12 frames, and that's out of 100%. That's 12 frames. After anything over 60 frames a second, it's diminishing returns up to, well, anything over like 100 frames a second is kind of diminishing returns. But I do feel like the sweet spot for most of the games that I play is in between that 60 to 90 frames a second. Actually, I like playing open world games at about 85 frames a second. It just kind of gives me that perfect balance of smooth rotation in the camera and pretty decent, overall control. It feels fast, it feels fluid. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Anything above that, or below that, is kind of when it's like, okay, like anything above that, I'm just like, okay, I don't really notice that anymore. Anything below that, I'm like, yeah, I noticed this. It's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable, but still playable. But that's just kind of my insight and how I've been and how I've felt with the overall AMD experience. Is like, this is cool. I like learning this. I like taking the time out of my day to like figure this stuff out and bring you along for the ride. Like, I've never said one time that I'm a tech expert. Never once have I said that. I'm coming to you as a consumer that buys this stuff that's interested. I'm not interested in necessarily becoming a tech expert, but I am learning this stuff as I go, pretty much through trial and error. So forgive me if I give you bad information, or I mess up on a benchmark and forget to slide over the resolution scale that these sneaky little monsters keep putting in there to kind of feel like you got better than whatever. But the funny thing is every time I've missed that and I'm in the game and I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, this looks incredible. And it's true, because you really can't tell. Like these tools. And I'm gonna say this because I think that a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on, things not being good or whatever because they're used to a certain thing. But these tools are so good that they can completely trick you into thinking, into feeling that you have a better image quality and higher frame rate. Is that a bad thing? Honestly, to be completely honest with you, I am not as against that kind of stuff as I used to be. I think I was more against it on the consoles because, like in my stupid little freaking console fanboy mind, I was like, yeah, it's going to be 4K and it's going to look so good. And just all the dumb nonsense that I used to spew and the thoughts that I had that have come so far since getting on PC that when I look at like an Xbox or a PlayStation and I see what they can do, and I look at them on my 1440p monitor and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's acceptable. That's good. 60 frames per second. Suicide Squad's running really nice. It feels good. Like, this is cool. Like, it's fine. Like, I like this experience. I don't put as much emphasis on the consoles getting over 30 frames per second anymore. Not rendering it like 4K or any of that kind of stuff anymore, because I just know from personal experience now that, like, if you want more power like that, you're gonna need a higher power. You're gonna need higher power in the first place. Like, you're gonna need more like physical freaking power, more than 190 watts or whatever, going to your PS5 or your Xbox. Like, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need freaking. You're gonna need more everything. Like, you're gonna need almost double. The 7600 XT is 22 teraflops of power, which is 10 teraflops more than what the Series X has, and exactly 12 teraflops more than the PS5 has. And even this card struggles at 4K on without having to use without using any kind of upscalers or anything like that. It struggles at 4K. It's something that, like, the 7800 XT can easily, with 37 teraflops, power through more of that than the 7600 XT can. But even that card still struggles on certain titles at 4K. The 7900 XT still struggles at 4K, and that is like 60 something teraflops or 59 teraflops of power. So it just goes to show you that, like, yeah, man, like, having these weird unrealistic expectations for our consoles going forward is just pointless. That's why I don't even worry about it anymore. That's why I just get over on Twitter and I start popping off at like 864p, because what more can you really expect? The fidelity of visuals in these games going forward is significantly higher than we've ever seen before, and it looks incredible. And yeah, I mean, it definitely could look better on the consoles, but dude, that's what PC is for. And if you're older now and you have that disposable income to where you can do this, like, it's not as bad as like the fearmongers used to make it sound. It really isn't. I really don't have issues all the time with PC. It's more, 90% of the time it's like nitpick. That's 90% of the time. And then the other 10% of the time that I feel like people are having problems with PC is because they're watching naughty stuff on the freaking internet, and it's screwing up or they're doing so many other things with it. I create my content. I don't surf the web or do any of that kind of stuff. I don't do shopping or any of that kind of stuff from my PC. I just do my games and my content. That's it. I don't download a whole bunch of things. I don't mod my games. I don't do any of that nonsense. So I don't have a whole lot of problems with my PC. Whereas a lot of people, they're just, they get on there, start doing all that other stuff, and then they start running into issues, or they're, always, yeah. It's if you just went out and literally bought a pre-built, already put together, brought it home, set it up and just use it for gaming, I don't think you would have any problems. Like, you wouldn't have any issues. You would plug it right in and you could just sit there and use it. Yes, form factor is a big thing when it comes to PCs. Obviously, these things can get massive. But once you build one yourself, you look at it in a completely different light. You know the inside of your PC. You know how you laid every wire. You know how you put everything in there. You know if you put the paste on right, or you built that thing. Like, you can take responsibility. You can be proud of it. You understand the inner workings of how it is, and it's not as hard to put one together as a lot of people would think. It is pretty easy. So, all right, my friends, that's the update on the PC for the weekend. I know it got a little bit long-winded, but I know you guys love these videos or you wouldn't watch them. So now I just got to think of some catchy clickbait title to make everybody watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.